Welcome to the SwimStrong Dryland Podcast. We are dedicated to inspiring and educating the swimming world. Our podcast highlights the work, character, and achievements in and around the SwimStrong community.
I am excited to bring to you guys the great Katie Lawrence for our podcast this week. Before we let her introduce herself, though, we got to do our rapid fire questions. Katie, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. So first off, what would be your walkout song?
Dreams and Nightmares by Meek Mill.
Pick. Favorite post-meet restaurant?
Carrabba's or Panera?
Oh, Carrabba's a good pick. What's your spirit animal?
Probably a golden retriever.
And what is your favorite swim meet memory?
Favorite swim meet memory? Joyce Beck getting her national cut in the one fly. During the two fly. She split
That's awesome.
That was fun.
That was epic. What is your favorite TV show at the moment?
Favorite TV show, Euphoria with Zendaya and all those.
What's a hidden talent you have that most people don't know about?
I don't know if this is a hidden talent, but I do like to make those string bracelets, and I get like all fancy with it, and I like to put words and phrases, names.
Ooh.
So
I got a really cool SwimStrong Dryland bracelet from Katie. It was awesome.
Mhm.
You should ask her at a swim meet sometime. What's your favorite part about SwimStrong Dryland?
Favorite part is the family for sure. I think we do a really good job of making all the swimmers, whether you know each other or not, online or in person, everyone is a family. So
that's awesome. I love it. Well, Katie is a strong part of the SwimStrong family, and I'm excited to have her on here. One of the most positive, inspiring, uplifting people you can ever meet. And so I'm excited for her to get to share with all of you guys who are watching, athletes, coaches, and parents alike. So, Katie, if you could just share a little bit about yourself, your swimming story or journey up to this point, when you started, what got you into the sport, why you fell in love with it in the first place.
Yeah, of course. So I got into swimming. I started with swim lessons when I was probably 6, maybe. And then, which I teach some now. I teach swim lessons at the Y. But I started off doing those. And then there was a little kiddie meet for all the kids who did the lessons. And I signed up for it. I went to it. I was in heats with a lot of the boys, I guess. And I did pretty well. So the aquatics director, I didn't get first, but the aquatics director gave me 3 first place ribbons, and I was kind of confused. I was like, wait, but I didn't get first. Like, what's going on here? And he says, you did pretty well against the boys. Like, I think you should try out for the Sharks, which is our club team. And so the tryouts had already passed. And so I got my own little tryout, and I tried out, and I was really nervous. I was like, I really want to make it. And so we waited, and I made the team, and that's how I kind of started. And my dad likes to take credit that, I took her to her first meet. I got her in. But that's how I really first started swimming.
That's cool. That's cool. And tell me about like when you fell in love with this sport. So you were excited. You found out you were pretty good. You tried out. And what made you love swimming specifically?
I think definitely at first it was just a place where I could just have fun with my friends and stay in shape, exercise, I guess. And so I don't know. As I got older, I kind of took it more seriously, but still keeping that fun piece in there. So I think it's definitely important to have fun. And like, I realize it may not always be fun, but just finding your people and what makes you happy and being surrounded by good influences and positive energy just really helps you when you're not having the best days.
Talk about that a little bit more, because you do such a good job of that. If you guys have ever seen Katie at swim meet, she's always so hyped, so excited hanging out with people on deck. And, but that wasn't something that was just always super natural for you, right? Like it's something you had to fight for and realize that like having fun is so important. Like you can't ever lose that. Can you talk a little bit about why you try to enjoy yourself at big meets and what types of things that you do?
So yeah, for me, like if I don't have a good meet, I'd rather be having fun and enjoying myself than do bad and like kind of be sad about it and just not have fun. I just don't think that's enjoyable. And I had a meet last year where I didn't do great, but I had so much fun and it was so much worth it because you're not going to remember the times. You're just going to remember the memories that you made. And so I think going into it with a positive mindset, like no matter how you do, is just you're going to benefit from it either way. And I think at least for me, like I'm not the type of person to like lock in. Like I don't listen to music. Like I just get up and go. Like I'm like talking to everyone. Like if you're behind the blocks with me, like I'm a chatty patty. Like I will not. So like I just like to go in with it and just I don't know, like have fun because it's like you've prepared as much as you can. So it's like don't worry about it, just swim. So I think, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I love the mindset, and what you said is something I think that's really hard for a lot of people. You can make it look easy, but it is hard. And I really want people to go to meets and have fun. Like you really have earned the right to have fun. If you've worked hard, if you've done the right things, if you've prepared, like swimming is supposed to be fun. And like you didn't start when you were a kid for any other reason besides hanging out with your friends and because you enjoyed it and maybe you're competitive, but like that's like you can't ever lose that. And that's something I admire about you is that that's something you've done even at the highest levels. And so Katie just won her first YMCA national championship this past year.
I did.
What she did behind the blocks was no different than what she's talking about. But can you talk a little bit about that experience too? Winning your first national championship, what that road was like?
Definitely. Yes. So it was a long road. Like I've always like loved the idea of winning a national title. I feel like everyone would love to win like YMCA Nats. Like I feel like it's everyone's goal. It's everyone's like big dream, I guess. And that race, like I knew going into it, like all you can really do is try your best. And in the moment, like I feel like for me, I just go to autopilot. So I knew like I didn't want to be nervous for it. So I kind of just went into it. I tried to go out with the girl next to me, and watching the video back, like it's awesome to hear my teammates like on the side, like when I flip, they were just going crazy. And I think all of the practicing, all of the SwimStrong, all of the nutritional stuff that I implemented the year before, and like not even this year, it's like all the years leading up to it. I think that all helped in bringing that race together. And I think that's what helped me win the race, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny. You talked about like before how important it is to have fun. And even when you're like, if I don't have a great meet, I want to make sure I'm still enjoying it because I still did a lot of work to get here. And like, that's the whole point of this is I should be enjoying something I'm doing. And you have to enjoy it to be great at something. You have to be the best you can be. You have to enjoy it because you're just going to give so much more to it. But you talked about having fun at a meet where you didn't do well and then having fun at a meet where you won a national championship. And I think that consistency is something that's tough for people to see like, hey, I had a bad meet, but like, it doesn't define my swimming career. It doesn't mean the next one's going to be bad. Like I did the work. I know it's going to pay off. It didn't pay off in the exact moment that I wanted it to every time, but welcome to swimming. Like 90%, 98%. I don't know what the number is of times. You're probably not going to go best times, especially as you get older and faster. But the work that you put in will pay off. And a lot of people struggle with the mindset of, oh, I had a bad meet. How do I remember that my work was still worth it? So can you talk a little bit how you did that? Because I think we're just like, you just said that and we glazed over it. Like, oh, I had this bad meet last year, but I was having fun. And then the next year I won the national championship. Like a lot of people would have that bad meet and be like, the work's not really worth it anymore. I'm going to probably take my foot off the gas because I don't want to feel that disappointment again. Like, how did you not do that? And how did you use that as just fuel to learn from and grow? Like, what was your mindset from going from didn't have the greatest meet to national champion?
I'm so glad you said this because I like every single meet I go to, like I like this is, I've just always thought like this. I know eventually, well, I can hope like the work is going to pay off. And like, even if it doesn't, I just like love to always go back to like, it will eventually. And
Mhm.
like, even if it doesn't, like, it gives me hope that even if I'm having a bad meet, like there's always going to be more chances to do better. Like there's always going to be more meets. There's always going to be more opportunities to race and go your best time. But it's like, if you're not there yet, there's always good, like, unless you're like, I don't know, 20, like 30, or you, like you're quitting swim, like, and you're having a bad meet, maybe it's time for you to be done. But like, I mean, I'm like 15. I still have so many years to go. And it's like, I'm in high school. Like, there's so much growth in college. Like, I'm not going to be worrying about what I did now when there's so much to go. Like,
Mhm.
that's how I like to think.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like it's a long-term process, right? You have to view the bigger picture. And you can't live meet to meet. Like if you live and die by every single meet you swim, man, your swim career is not going to be that fun. So if you just have this, hey, I just have a joy for this sport and I know my work's going to pay off. And I truly believe that because I know what I've put in and I know, the work I'm doing and I trust this process, then like you don't have to be in a bad mood when it doesn't go great. You're like, hey, sometimes that happens. Now, what do I learn from it and how do I move forward? And it's so much easier said than done. And you've put a lot of work in to get your mind to that point. I think something else that you do really well, better than almost anybody I've ever met, is that you care about other people just as much, if not more than yourself, even when you're at championship swim meets that are like big races for you. You said your favorite swim meet memory in the rapid fire questions was when Joyce made her nationals cut.
Mhm.
Had nothing to do with you. And that's hard for people to celebrate others and not just be self-focused. And I think that's a part of what makes you not just impactful, but even successful in your own career. Like, I think it's something that's inspiring and something that makes an impact and something that's super rewarding is helping others. But a lot of people don't realize too that it does help you because when you can get outside of your own mind and be a part of somebody else's journey, like it's so much more rewarding and freeing. And you realize everything's not about you. But, how did you develop that? Like the person you are, this is kind of a big question, but like, how did you become the person that you are with the mindset you have of like just being like so inclusive of everybody and cheering for people, without a band, like with reckless abandon, like don't care what other people think, like chatting up people behind the blocks, like like you just have like this way about your spirit that's contagious. Like people want to be around you because you bring up their energy levels and you bring the best out of them. But like, where does that come from? Like, who someone teach you that? Is that something you've done naturally? Is it a thing you've learned over the years? Like, where does that come from? Why do you do that?
Like, honestly, I don't even know. I just like, I guess if I can help in any way I can, like, I am gonna be that person bringing the energy. Like, I don't know. Some people might not have the best, like, some people, they go into meets and they like to be like, keep to themselves and have their headphones on. And like, I don't know, I like to see people happy. I like to see people smiling. I like to in any way I can help people feel better. Like, I just think it's rewarding in itself, and I don't know why you wouldn't like try and be that person for somebody. Like, I don't know. I also think it's a great way to be closer with people. And I think once you earn that trust of like being there for somebody and like helping them,
Mm-hmm.
um, in any way, shape, or form, like motivating them to do whatever, I think it brings you closer. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something that is, it's hard to have like really authentic friendships with people if you aren't someone who like genuinely cares and is willing to put yourself out there and serve other people. And but when you do have someone like that, it's contagious, and you want to do the same for them, and you just end up with this friendship that is pretty incredible, like that I think most people hope that they can have. And I think that's something we're passionate about too, at SwimStrong is just like why we want you guys to have connections with each other, is because you have so much to offer each other. Like everybody has like so many great things about them that you can learn from. And everybody may not be, bringing the same energy that you are on deck. And even for the person who it's like, hey, I got my headphones on and I'm locked in the zone. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but you do need to still have like connection with people along the way and the process. And that person can learn from you and you can learn from that person. And I think the more you just like invest in people, the more rewards you get, because you have these friendships and relationships that you'll never forget, and you'll make each other better. So I think we're actually hurting ourselves when we don't open ourselves up to other people, because you'll never be as good as you can be without other people. It's just not going to happen, because they bring out different sides of you and challenge you in different ways. And and I'm sure that happens every day on your club team. So with the Wyckoff Sharks, tell me a little bit about what that experience is like, being a part of that team. What's the team culture like? And, so people from the outside who maybe have no idea what it looks like.
Yeah, I love the Wyckoff Sharks. Like, I think we've gotten a lot closer in the past year or so, because we had Megan work last year come to our team, and I think that really brought the girls and the boys together, because, well, as you know, in New Jersey, it's like you get your license at 17, which is annoying, but she was kind of like our mom of the group, I'd say. And so she drove us a lot of places to get food and stuff, and that kind of just started a whole bond between the boys and the girls. And I wouldn't say that we were separated, but we just have gotten a lot closer. We used to go to diners. I mean, we still do, but we go to diners after practice. We had like a Secret Santa, which was fun. So we like to have fun. And like, even if it's, I don't know, like 3 lanes of girls, 3 lanes of boys during practice, like we always come together after practice to do our SwimStrong. And that's kind of also where we've built a lot more culture, I'd say, because we're always kind of just hounding each other. And some days people don't really want to do the SwimStrong workout, so we help in that way, and we just have fun with it, honestly. And I think that's one of the reasons we're really close. Yeah.
That's the other side of it too that you just mentioned. So there's accountability, right? Like you have an energy and an enthusiasm and an encouragement for people. That's one side. But if you only have that, then it's not going to be super helpful in most of the moments of training, because most of training is like, I don't really feel like doing this right now. I'm not super excited about this. I know the benefit, and that's where you need your teammate to like link arms with. That's where you need someone to push you, to hold you accountable. And something that you've done really well in the SwimStrong Small Group Team is, you have an accountability partner, and you have other teammates doing this around the country too. So, and for people who don't know, like the Small Group Team is for individual athletes. So if your club team isn't currently able to do the program as a whole, you can do it as individual athletes. And there's a whole bunch of awesome Wyckoff Sharks that we have a part of the Small Group Team. And shout out to Coach Peta being an awesome coach and for Wyckoff, and allowing them to do all of those things to be the best they can be, both in and out of the water. And but it's a pretty unique connection you guys have with accountability and pushing each other. Talk about the challenges of accountability, like saying things that are hard to say. How have you grown in that area? What advice would you give for people holding each other accountable? Because there's honestly, like, as a person who has goals and dreams and you want to be successful and your teammates say they do too, it's kind of frustrating when you're working with people who like don't actually follow through. So you need people to be able to have a voice and we all need that. Like there's days even where you or myself don't want to do what we need to do, and having good people around you who are like, no, like, this is what you said you wanted. Let's get it together. Talk about the culture of accountability for you with the small group team and even within your own club team.
Yeah. So, I've had two accountability partners. And my most recent one, Nam, shout out to my girl, Nam. He has been on my butt lately about like going to bed early, because I don't know if I told you this, but I have not been going to bed early. And I told her that I was like, and I need help with like my bedtime because I'm not getting those hours. So she I was on a visit with her this weekend, but she comes up to me and she shows me her phone and it's like an alarm, tell Katie to go to bed. So every single night she texts me, she's like 2 hours before bed, hour before bed, 30 minutes before bed. And she just like she sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I think it's really good to have that kind of pushing me to be better and remind me that this is my goal, like to stay on track and stuff. And I think within the Wyckoff Sharks, I think, yeah, sometimes people may not want to do certain stuff, like maybe the set or like the swim set or dryland set. But um, I think like even having like a couple people as your accountability partner, like, yeah, one person may not want to do it, but you have like a group of 4 or 5 being like, hey, listen, like you need to do this right now. Like we're all gonna do it. We're all gonna do it together.
Mm-hmm.
Like even though you're having a bad day, like try your best because we're all doing this. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's like we all have goals and we're all trying to reach them. So I think we
Yeah.
always bring that into account. But
So to be able to hold people accountable from some of the things you're saying, it sounds like you need to know their goals, first of all, because if you don't know what they want, then you can't really hold them accountable. Like shout out Anam for keeping you accountable with the sleep because she knows you want that. And you're like, I know that sleep is going to boost my performance. And I know that I am just not doing great with it. And so I need some help. And so like, that's a really great thing to do. Like for any athlete who's watching something you're not good at, instead of hiding it, shout it out on a podcast and then the whole country will know, and like that's so now you guys can ask Katie about her sleep too, right? But like that's how you grow, is like you're honest about where you are, but you're also honest about this is where I want to be, and I know this thing's holding me back, and if I don't actually bring this up and give this to someone to give them the freedom to hold me accountable, I'm never going to get to where I want to be. So I think that is a really mature and wise thing to do. And I would encourage any athlete to share with somebody that you trust, who you know cares about you. This is what I want. Can you help me? Here's where I struggle. Call me out on these things. And then you give them license to do that. Very different from, people just doing it without having a relationship with you and knowing why. So I think that's really important. And then I want to ask you too, though, about the challenges with that, because I think when you are willing to be that person who's like, guys, let's go, like the lead, a leader of a group, and the leader could be different on any given day, the vocal leader, but being willing to be that person who's like, hey, everybody's not in the best mood, so I'm gonna bring it up. Like people may not like you when you do that, people may be like, shut up, but you know that you need them and that they need you. And if you guys don't do this together, you're not going to get as much out of the practice, swim or dryland or whatever you're doing. So do you have any like words around like that process, how you have like grown to become okay with being a leader, that there's fun things that come with it, but there's also a lot of criticism and like pushback that you get, but like how have you dealt with that and just embrace that role?
well, I think some of the things that help, like at least when I am trying to like lift somebody up, like I try to, like what you were saying about knowing the person, I try to take one of their goals or like maybe something that kind of just really lights them up, like kind of gets them going, and I try to use that to help them stay on track.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have this thing, this little thing where we know what gets each other going. So like
Yeah.
maybe it's a person, like maybe it's a time, maybe it's a goal, but we just sometimes we're like we're screaming it, like maybe like if it's a specific person, we like when we're doing reps, we just like spell out the name. So I think like little things like that really help in getting people to kind of stay on track. And I think the question that you asked before.
Yeah, as far as like, so I love that you're talking about like knowing what makes people tick, because that gets people fired up and can drive them in ways that like nothing else can. So and then the other part of the question was just like, what about like pushback that you get? How do you deal with like the pushback of being a leader and doing those things when people don't necessarily want to hear it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I never really got in like all right, Katie, like pipe down. But like, even if I did, like, there's nothing wrong with being positive. And like, if people are like, all right, like calm down, like it's like, I don't know. It's like weird to me. Like, I guess I don't know, like people might be having bad days, but it's like, I don't really know. Like, I mean, if they're talking bad about like somebody being positive, it's like, I don't know. They need somebody. They need somebody to help them, I guess, like have a change their mindset, I guess, because I don't know. There's nothing wrong with being positive and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might need it even more, honestly, like people who push it away because it challenges them. A lot of times people get pushback because they don't want to be challenged. Like they don't want to be challenged in the way that you're challenging them. And also a lot of people have trouble like with celebrating other people's success. So like they don't want you to do it either, because they don't want you to be successful while they're going to stay, average and mediocre. And so I think there's different reasons, that selfish reasons that people have, that they get frustrated at someone. And I think it's important too, like you're mentioning just like bringing positivity is really important, but you're talking about deeper than just like something that's like fake or like fluffy. It's like, hey, this is what you said you wanted. Like, we're going to hold each other accountable. I'm going to bring energy because this is what you need, and it's going to move you towards your goals. And like, but you also like know the people that you're training with, and you know the things that make them tick, and you know the things that have been hard in their life. And so I think that is something, probably one of the reasons why you don't get a lot of pushback, is because people know you care about them. Like, it's much deeper than just like, oh, just be happy. Like it's like, that's not, it's not helpful. It's not productive. And can be annoying, but it's like when you really care about someone, there's a big difference between like positivity that's productive and caring versus just like something that's fake. And so I think you have something very genuine. And so I think people can take that from you as well.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of hard to, like when you're taking something so personal, like a goal, that somebody has, and you're like, well, if you like miss the dryland today, like you're missing that one practice that you can never get back, I guess. And like, if somebody wants it that bad, it's like, you're not really gonna get that pushback, because it's like, oh shoot, like you're right, So it's like, you just kind of like helping them, I don't know, like see it how it is, I guess. And I don't know.
Yeah. That's a part of being someone's friend and caring about them, is telling them the truth. If you only have people who tell you positive things all the time, they're probably not your friend because they're not willing to say the things you actually need to hear. You have to be willing to kind of put your reputation, so to speak, on the line and be like, you know what, you're not going to like me when I say this in the moment, but I'm going to say it because I care about you. I know this is what is ultimately going to help you. And if they listen, great. And if not, then that's a choice that they made, but there's nothing you can do about that. So I just think that's a really good mindset to have. But it's challenging. It's not easy. And so I would encourage people though to really assess what it is to be a leader and to hold someone accountable. And there'll be so much more reward in that though, even with all the challenges that come with it. So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the college recruiting process, because this is something you've been in the midst of for, since probably the emails and phone calls opened up and in the summer. And it's a pretty crazy process for everybody, but you being in your junior year right now, I think it could be really cool for people to hear from you being in the midst of it. So one, tell me about the process itself. Have you enjoyed it? Has it been stressful? Honestly, what's it been like in terms of just like the experience with all the phone calls and visits and things like that?
Yeah, like before June 15th, I was so excited. Even like the week after June 15th, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like I have so many colleges, like I don't know, like I got in contact with the bunch the first week and I was like, this is so cool. Like this is and the calls were they went great, honestly. And I think like after the first, second week, I was like, oh shoot, this is a lot to keep up with all these calls. And I mean, it's the summer, so I guess it's fine. You don't really have a lot of schoolwork. I was lifeguarding and I had practice in the morning, so I had a couple pockets of time after that, after my whole day. So I mean, but yeah, it was I really enjoyed the calls. I enjoyed my visits. Those were a lot of fun. But I think really getting down to narrowing down your colleges,
Mhm.
that I mean, I don't know how it is for other people, but like for me, it's been difficult because I am really indecisive. And I think like, yeah, some people might go to a college and be like, yeah, that's where I want to go. But like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like for me, I went to all these colleges, like I loved a lot of them. And it's hard, like, I'm still deciding between 2. I don't know when this is gonna come out, I might have decided already, but, it is hard, and I wake up one day thinking it's gonna be one school, and the other thinking it's gonna be, like, something completely different, yeah, so, like, I have just been telling all these coaches, like, I want to wake up and be this school, and then I wanna
Mhm.
wake up the next day and be like, "Yep, yep, yep."
Mhm.
So, like, I just don't wanna make a decision and be like, "Oh, shoot,"
Yeah.
which I don't know how it is for other people, but I just wanna be and I know, like, I don't it's just such a short amount of time to make a big decision, and it's
Right.
like when you see other people committing, you're like, I don't know, because it's like, that's early, but is it like, am I late or like I don't know, it's just
Mhm.
it's a lot to think about, especially when social media, like, you see a lot of people committing, but
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I'm taking my time, like, I've been lucky enough that coaches haven't really put, deadlines on me, so, I mean, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, maybe, like, I need the push, maybe I don't, but I just wanna be, like, really confident in what I pick,
Yeah.
um,
That makes perfect sense.
so
I
yeah.
think it's really good that, when people aren't putting a specific deadline on you because it allows you to have the time to make the decision. I think that's actually typically a bad sign if someone's like, "You gotta make a decision by this time."
Yeah.
It's like, "Okay, well, this is changing my entire life." So if I have to make a decision in, like, the next 7 days, that's kind of a big ask. So you're speaking honestly about the pressures of the recruiting process that people don't realize. Like, we're asking 16, 17-year-olds to make decisions in a very short period of time that's going to impact the rest of their life. And so, like, you should enjoy it. Like, I'm glad you've been enjoying it. And like, not feeling pressured to do XYZ. And I think that's the best way to go about it, is to really just enjoy every moment of it, because you can't get it back.
Yeah.
You can't get it back. And when you go on visits and are on phone calls and talking to people and all that, helps you get a feel. But yeah, trying to enjoy this process, I think, is something a lot of people miss on. And if there was something, so you said, like, kind of narrowing it down a little sooner, I think that was good advice. So people don't stress out about, like, having 10 million different people to talk to.
Mhm.
Um, Still being kind of in the thick of it now, having finished up, kind of like visits and stuff. Is
Mhm.
there anything like that you would have done differently, or that you would have told yourself you would have told, 5 months ago, Katie, uh, to do differently, or to stress out less about, or to focus on this, or anything like that, that you can, like, while you're freshly thinking about it, anything like in
Yeah.
particular you would say?
Yeah, I actually have been thinking about this because, I know a couple of people in the class below me, and I know, like, I went to so many people in the class above me for help. So, like, I was just kinda thinking on my own, like, what I could tell people to the younger classes that I know, and I came up with, there wasn't a lot, but I came up with this, one thing, and I wish I had asked more of the coaches, like, personal questions instead of like, "Oh, what does your practice week look like?" Like, "What is
Hmm.
I don't know, what is your training like?" Because you're also trying to get to know the coach, And it's not just like the program you're trying to get to know. And like, I know coaches do change, but it's also like they're trying to get to know you and not just like, oh, what do you do in a practice week? Like, what are you doing out of the pool? It's like they were really trying to get to know me, most of them. So I feel like you shouldn't just be trying to get to know the program, but also the coach too. So I think that's one of the things that I wish I had done more and asked more about the coaches on a more personal level. But that's what I just thought of.
That's really good, because even going back to almost all the topics we've talked about so far, it always comes down to the people, like who you're with, the teammates you're surrounded by, and the coaches you're surrounded by. Like that's going to make or break the experience. And if they like genuinely care about you and you get to know them and you're like, I really respect this person as a person, like they're really going to take care of me, you know, outside of the pool as well as in the pool, and care about my development and my goals and what matters to me. Like they're going to be invested. And if you can find someone who has that in a coaching staff who reflects that, that's amazing. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid, guys who are watching, guys and girls, like to ask personal questions to coaches. I think they'll actually like that too, because they want to know that you are like care too. So that's really good insight. Well, I want to wrap it up here because I could talk all day about all the things that you're doing and ways that you've inspired me and the SwimStrong staff and community and all kinds of people that you've crossed paths with. But if you could just kind of leave people with one thing that you feel like, man, this is a big question, but this has been like the most impactful thing in my swimming career, and I never want to forget this. Like, this is the one thing I always want to keep in mind, why I do what I do, what drives me. And like, if I ever lose this, like I need to reassess. What's that thing for you that just drives you and gets you up out of bed in the morning, makes you excited to be a part of the sport and the swimming journey?
I guess like the impact. I mean, like if I can have a good impact on everyone I meet, everyone I race, everyone I see, everyone who coaches me, like it just makes it, I guess, more enjoyable and fun. And you need to have fun sometimes, even when it may be hard.
I think that's awesome advice. Just being able to focus on impact, it makes you enjoy the sport. You get so much more out of it. The memories, the relationships, the impact you have, like those are things that you'll never forget and that people will never forget. And it leaves a legacy like much bigger than just the sport and how fast you swam up and down a body of water. You know, like it's so much more. So take that advice, anybody who's listening, and make sure that your focus continues to stay on the most important things. But Katie, thanks so much for taking the time to be on here. It was an absolute joy. I love getting to be a part of your journey and having you in the SwimStrong family. And thanks for taking the time to share with everybody.
Thanks. Loves being on here. Can't wait to see the episode.
Yeah.
Everyone stays to the end.
Thank you for listening to the SwimStrong Dryland Podcast. If you'd like to be a part of the SwimStrong Dryland family, you can reach out to us via email or social media. You can also follow SwimStrong Dryland on YouTube and TikTok for more educational content.